everybody? Welcome back to Living Well with Terrell, the place where we develop the mind, soul, and the body on a communal level. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Today we're going to talk about recreating, rebranding yourself, and molding yourself into that person you want to be. Taking all of those attributes and things you envy in other people. Today we're going to talk about how we can incorporate those things into the standard of your life. So the inspiration behind today's video is actually based on a personal experience of mine and a little bit of a memory that was reawakened inside of me. So today I was in a space where, I wasn't feeling adequate, I was feeling a little bit insecure, and actually some of the conditions or the circumstances of my past life kind of made themselves present in today's life, if that makes sense. So today, I'm going to be telling you guys about my personal recreation and how I'm constantly evolving and changing myself. All right, so I'm going to start this video off talking about my past life and what kind of made me realize, we have the ability to kind of change and reinvent ourselves. So this was way back, probably 2012, 2013. I probably was like in high school, freshman in high school, or thereabout, like 8th grade, something like that. Yeah, so growing up, I didn't come from a lot of money, just like a lot of people. My mom had a total of 8 kids, so she had it hard and she was a single parent. I didn't necessarily have a lot of stuff like the other kids. Growing up, kids could be tough, kids could be like, kids bully you because they don't really know any better. So growing up, I would get picked on a lot in like elementary school and up until about, I would say my freshman, sophomore year of high school, I would get picked on a lot because I didn't have a lot of things that, other kids had. Like people would make fun of me because of my shoes. They would make fun of me because of my clothes and, just like I wasn't getting haircuts a lot, just things like that, basically all stemming from my appearance. So these kids, even though they didn't come from a lot of money, their parents dressed them as if they did, and it kind of made school a fashion show instead of a place of education. So it would be pretty bad. Like I just remember not wanting to go to school because I wouldn't want to get flamed. In Chicago, that's what we call it. We call it flaming. Like they'd be like, "Dang, he flaming his ass. Like they treated your ass." Like that's just when somebody get down on you just because of how you come in, like how you dressed and stuff like that. And I just remember that feeling of feeling powerless in a sense, because it's like in my mind as a kid, like I wasn't working, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have money. Like all of these things that people would pick on me about, there were things that was out of my control as far as I knew, right? It's just like, this is my circumstance. This is what is my normal. This is, the normal for me. And the fact that other people were making fun of me about these things, I kind of felt trapped because I'm like, damn, I felt like they were better than me in a sense. It was a lot of confusion because when people generally accept something to be a standard, you kind of feel inadequate when you don't reach up to that standard. You know what I'm saying? You feel left out. You feel less than, right? So it even got to the point where it just made me, I started to feel ugly. Like as a kid, I felt very ugly. Like, man, like the person I am today is totally different because I remember, kids in class would make these little charts, who's the cutest boy in the class, who's the cutest girl kind of thing. And I would always like be at the bottom of the class. And that kind of, how can I say, and that was degrading as a person because as a young kid, I just remember going home, looking in the mirror and just like, wow, like, damn, I really am ugly. Like I would deadass just be standing in the mirror and just be like, fuck, like I'm really ugly. And then over time, I began to act ugly, right? Like I would begin to become like very timid. Even though I'm an outspoken person, like I would talk more, I would talk less because I would want to be noticed less. I didn't want to be seen because I felt like anytime someone would see me or anything like that, they just would have something negative to say. And mind you, I was one of the top students in, in school. I was valedictorian. I graduated top of the class and things like that. So I was always very smart. But for some reason, when it came to, this social aspect of life, and this point in time, I always felt stupid. I felt dumb. And when it would come to things, socially, I would always act quote unquote dumb. I will always be silent. I will always feel inferior to people because you just know that's just how it is when you're insecure. So fast forward a little bit, I remember always watching TV and seeing all these really handsome dudes in movies or starring in these films or doing these action movies like 007, all these kind of cool movies. I would just see these attractive people. I would just see in the movie, even in the movies, the girls would love them, like the dude would just walk past and, pull down his glasses or some shit. And all the girls would just faint and shit like that. I just remember even watching Disney Channel and seeing people like Rashawn Fagan, just these black attractive dudes that everyone thought they were attractive. I was like, man, I want to be like that. Why am I not like this? Why am I not like that? Because, as a kid, you don't really recognize everything. You don't see everything in full color. Now, I remember this one dude in my class, his name was Jacoby Smith. He was my friend actually, but he was the freshest. He would get new shoes all the time. His mom would keep his hair cut, and he had waves, his waves was always swimming, everything. And I would always be like, damn, I always be like, damn, I wish that was me. I want to be a little bit like him. I was always envious of him in a good way, if that makes any sense. Never really good to be envious, but in a pure way, should I say. I was always envious of him in a pure way. I just admired his maintenance and things like that. And in my mind, he was the most attractive dude. I'm like, this is the best looking dude. Every time they would have these little charts and do the voting and shit, he would always get the most tallies. All the girls thought he was the cutest, and I was just like, man, this dude, he the dude to be. There became a point where I just started to get fed up because I would sit and think. These things would consume my mind a lot, just about being attractive, beauty, just having charisma, being and shoes and this and that all these material things. It just started to consume my mind. It started to make me go into some light form of depression, I would say, because it was mostly just bothersome, but I wouldn't say I was depressed. One day I just went to the mirror and I looked in the mirror, and then I just told myself, I was like, you handsome. You look good, you look handsome. And I just kept telling myself, you look handsome. And I was crying. I'm like, bro, you look handsome. I'm just was so frustrated, and I didn't want to be who I thought I was at the time. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to be him. So I just started yelling at myself in the mirror to kind of force him away or drive him out. At the time, that was my intention behind it. But little did I know, emotionally and spiritually, that was happening. I was ridding myself of those negative things that people had deposited into me, because as a kid, I was getting deposited. People telling me, even my cousins, people in my family would be telling me I'm ugly and stuff like that, just because of the lack of maintenance within me. So these things would be deposited in me, and I just felt bad having all these things in me. So I just remember going to the mirror and I'm just yelling, yes. So I'm really just combating all these evil spirits, this negativity. I'm just yelling at it. But in my mind as a kid, I don't know I'm doing this. But I felt lighter from doing that. So what I did was the next day I did it again. And I kept telling myself, you this. And what I noticed day after day, the more I began to do that, the better I felt, the better I saw myself. Nothing changed about me as far as circumstance or financially or physically. Nothing changed. And I want y'all to know that, because that's important. The initial change started with my mind. Inside of my head, I told myself that no matter what's around me or what people are telling me, what my circumstances are, this is not who I am. Even though I might look a little dusty right now, I ain't dusty. Even though y'all might think I'm a little ugly right now, I ain't ugly. I'm handsome, I'm a king, I'm intelligent, because I always knew I was smart. I always knew I was always in the top of my classes, always in the top of my classes. So I always knew that, I had some level of power and authority. So in that moment, I began to awaken it. And from that point on, I just started to appreciate myself more and more. And I remember when I turned 14, I was like, all right, I need to get a job, But in Chicago, I know you can't work until you're 16. But I lied about my age. I lied on the application and stuff like that. And I said that I was 16 and I started working at Wendy's. Now, I think I was in high school, I was 14. And at the time, we had moved out south, but my job was far west, because my school was out west. So I didn't care, you know, like I said, and my mom like, you handsome, you're a king, and the king has to be maintained. I gotta have money because I gotta have my hair cut, I gotta have me some nice shoes, and I gotta be looking handsome. Like when I tell y'all, one thing about me back then, I was so serious about having my hair cut all the time. My hair must remain cut, okay? I always had to have the fresh taper and everything like that. I always bought me, you know, a few pieces of clothing items here and there. So anyway, I would get off work very late, probably like 1 o'clock in the morning. Some nights I had to walk. In Chicago, it gets cold, in the snow. I would have to walk, but when I tell y'all, I was so determined, like mentally, to hold myself up to my standard, that it didn't matter. It didn't matter because in my life, I had already decided that I was a star. I had already decided that I was a superstar. I already decided that, you know, I had already decided that I was somebody. So, you know, with that being said, I had certain standards to live up to by any means. So I did what I had to do. I never planned to be the most popular dude. I never planned to be like, oh, you know, this handsome dude. Like, I never planned to be known for these things. I would just always envision these things for myself. Even when I went to sleep at night, these are the thoughts that would consume my mind, consume my head, because I knew I always had like an assertive personality. I never let people disrespect me or run over me and things of that nature. So I always told myself that, you know, if you're gonna have this strong personality and things like that, you need to have the stature and the looks to go with it. You know, you have to have the demeanor to go with it. From that point on, I was, you know, a different person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was more confident, and I felt like I had more control over my life, and I felt like I was just a better person because I was confident in myself. So it's like, of course, it's great to be confident for your self benefit, but another thing I want you to realize is that when you're a happier person, or when you feel more whole, you give more and you deposit more into people. So I feel like those kids who used to pick on me at school and everything like that, like, they were dealing with things themselves, you know what I'm saying? So they felt like they had to, you know, take from me. They had to take from me. They had to take from me. And when I say take from me, I mean deposit their negativity into me. They had to transfer their negativity into me and take my innocence and my purity and keep that from themselves, because essentially that's what was happening. I was being robbed of my joy. I was being robbed of my peace. So, you know, I always say I love acting because anytime I watch a movie or something like that, I just feel touched, or like I feel like I feel it more than other people do, and I see it from a different perspective than other people. However, I just remember like, okay, I need to be an actor. I need to be, you know, this. I need to be a model, and that's how I got into modeling. Because I remember the first thing that really let me know, okay, I might have a little sauce, was I remember one day just walking home from school. I was walking home from school, and I was about to get on the bus, and this guy stopped me. He said he was a recruiter, like a modeling recruiter. And I was just like, what? Like, I was so confused because nothing like that had ever happened to me. Mind you, when I was doing my thing, I just wanted to be handsome. That's it. Like, I just like, okay, I just want to be handsome. That's it. I never considered being a model or anything like that. But when he approached me, I will say I didn't follow up because, you know, I'm from Chicago, and I thought it could have possibly been some sketchy stuff. You know, a lot of it's, you know how black people be. We just be like, we be questioning everything. So I never followed up with it, and plus I was busy with everything like that. But I took something away from that, and I'm just like, I could be a model? Like, you know, I could be a model. So I started taking more pictures. I would just stare into the camera. That's why people always say, oh, you're so photogenic, you're so photogenic. What people don't realize is I had to learn how to become photogenic. Like, I would just get that camera and just, okay, find my angles and just find my facial expressions and figure out all the things I need to do. And another thing was I started to smile more. And I noticed something like when I got more happy and more confident, I just felt more confident smiling. So I would smile more. And people always compliment me on my smile. If I'm going to be an actor and a model, what do I need to do? How do I get there? So, you know, what does any 15, 16-year-old boy who don't know what the fuck going on does? I Google it. So I get on Google, how to be an actor in Chicago or teenage actor. I'm just Googling all this stuff. Mind you, this was happening for a week. So there was this TV show being filmed in Chicago. It was called Chicago PD. It's really popular. A lot of people know about it. So I had known about it at the time. I didn't know about it, you know. I was just like, okay. So I saw auditions for it. They said, hey, submit, you know, send a picture. You fill out this little application, yada, yada, yada. So I found it and I submitted it that night. And when I woke up that next morning, that was on a Friday. I remember it was on a Friday. When I woke up on that Saturday, I had gotten a call from Adrian. Her name was Adrian. She was the casting director for Chicago PD. And she was like, hey, Terrell, you know, we saw your pictures. We love it. Yada, yada, yada. We want to know if you can be on set on these days. So she sent me all the information. And I had like a short role, like a non-speaking short role as a student, at a private school on North Side Chicago Prep or some shit like that. It was like, you know, one of those things. But it was my first time being in front, because this was NBC, you know, NBC, this is a really big deal. So I saw all the famous actors, you know, like those people you see on TV, like, and I remember the one lady, she was from Law and Order, I think. But just those people, you know, you see on TV, you don't know their names, but you know their faces. I just remember seeing them. I just remember seeing all the cameras, all the people yelling, background, action, rolling, just seeing all the, and it thrilled me so much, and I felt so alive. I felt like this is where I belong, you know? That's like one of the first times in my life where it was like a moment. Like I felt like, damn, this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. You know, this is why I belong. You know, this is my shit. Like that's how I felt. So moving forward, I ended up doing that. After I finished filming for that, next day, emailed the casting director. I said, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity. If there are any more opportunities, please let me know. I had to make an impression because I just knew that this woman had the power to grant me this experience, and it's something I want to do. So I had to let her know, okay, I am open to doing this again. I appreciate you, and keep me in mind. Remember me. And what did she do? She called me the next weekend, and then the next weekend. I just remember being on set and just learning and studying things, and like, wow, I'm like, wow, you know, this is what I want to do. This is who I want to be. So fast forward a little bit in high school, I did some modeling from some people I met there. I met directors for runway shows on the set for Chicago PD. And they would tell me, oh, you have a really nice look, yada, yada, yada. I want to just get you set up with some modeling. So I remember being in high school, waking up about 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, 5:40, getting to school on time, getting out of school, going to work some days, getting off work at 2 a.m., 1 a.m., not making it home to sometimes 3 a.m., waking up the next morning for school early. Then I would go on the weekends. I would work some days on the weekends, and then I would do acting and shoot scenes some days and some nights for TV shows, you know, shit like that. And I didn't realize it at the moment, but I was becoming who I always envisioned myself to be, you know, because I was doing modeling, I was doing acting, I was in school, I was top of my class, I was making money, I was working, like I was doing all the things that I wanted to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was one of those points in my life where I was the happiest. Like, you know, I was so happy. And I think about my senior year, I had totally forgotten that person I used to be, you know, that insecure, you know, ugly dude who was unkept. I totally forgotten who he was because he was left in the past, you know what I'm saying? And oddly enough, those people who used to pick on me, it's like the circumstances were swapped because life was doing them dirty. That's all I'm gonna say. Life was doing them dirty. But that's neither here nor there. Still wishing them well, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just telling y'all what it is. Life was doing them dirty. And I just remember thriving and things like that. And ultimately, my senior year of high school, I co-starred in my first ever movie. It was an indie film, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. And it was called Low High. The trailer is on here on YouTube. If y'all want to see in the comments the trailer, let me know. I'll reply to the comment, whoever wants to see it, and see y'all the link for it. But that was just an amazing experience. And eventually I ended up going off to college and, you know, took a whole nother turn and things like that. But that's a whole nother video, and that was a whole nother recreation in itself, because like I said, we're always changing. All right, I don't want this video to be this long. I hate when I just get on here and get to talking and rambling. I don't like my videos to be that long. But if you guys have any more questions about this, please let me know. The biggest takeaway from this is that you can always recreate yourself, and I hope from my story you learned that everything starts in the mind. I'm going to make another video about that, but this is kind of like a part one, and it's just to relay my story to you guys. You know, you're not a prisoner to your circumstance, your past, or your situation. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit subscribe, like, share, comment, okay? Other than that, thank you for watching this video. See you next time. Peace.